Hello, this video is on how to tear down and dispose of an old camping trailer that is no longer towable. This is an old prowler type camp trailer, as you can see, and it's only 8 foot wide by 15 long. It's been sitting in place for over 25 years. The tires are flat and deteriorated to the point where the trailer can't be towed, and it'd have to be winched onto another trailer before it's hauled away. Over the years, I've tried to get rid of it by contacting various companies to see what it would take to haul it away. I wanted it pulled out as a whole trailer. Everybody I contacted wanted to bring in an excavator and tear it down on site and then haul the pieces away in their vehicles. The price ranged anywhere from $1,100 to $1,700. It's not bad for the work that needs to be done, but I just couldn't fathom spending $1,100 to $1,700 to haul away junk. After the last reply, I decided to tear it down myself. My biggest fear was starting the project and then being stopped for some reason, and I'd be stuck with even worse eyesore on my property with a half torn down trailer. My children are in the military, so I would be doing this project by myself. This is the photo of the tools I needed for this project. Not a whole lot of tools, as you can see. In the upper right hand corner you'll see a saber saw. That was the tool I used initially to get started with the project. I went to Harbor Freight and bought an inexpensive saber saw. I didn't think it would last through the whole project, but in fact it turned out that it was quite a workhorse. It handled the project and handled everything I threw at it. It was pretty good and still going strong. The next tool is a DeWalt angle grinder, and the angle grinder is used for later on as you get done with the main teardown to cut up your structures and axles and everything else. I used a splitting maul. Originally I was going to use a sledgehammer, and it didn't turn out to be as useful as I expected. The splitting maul, I used it like a sledgehammer, and I also used the blade to make creases into the sheet metal, the aluminum sheet metal. It allowed me to fold up the sheet metal like paper in order to put it in the truck for hauling away. Next tool you'll see there is a pair of pliers, not side cutters actually, and the side cutters are used to cut the wires. Tons of wiring on the trailer, and the saber saw didn't work very well through the wire because the wire would move with the saw, and it's easier just to stop, grab the side cutters and cut the wires as you see them. The number one tool that allowed me to do all the work I did was a winch. I have a two-door Jeep Wrangler, and I have a Smitty-built winch on the front bumper that I installed. 12,000 pounds. The cool thing about this particular winch is it comes with a wireless remote, which was really nice to be able to get out there and work on site while the Jeep was about 100 feet away. The rope was synthetic rope, and I didn't want to have a chance of getting it cut while working around the debris. So I used a 20-foot logging chain that hooked to things on the trailer as I tore it apart, and then I had the winch hooked to the logging chain. In the right or left hand side of the picture you'll see a snatch block, a soft shackle, and a recovery toe strap, 3-inch wide toe strap. I use those whenever I needed to make a change of direction. When I was dragging something and a tree was in the way or something, I would just change the direction and drag it using that. And then of course safety. You want a pair of good leather gloves, eyeglasses, and a dust mask. All the metal dust is not good for you. And then my old trailer had tons of mold and other spores that I didn't want to be inhaling. So those are the main tools. The other thing I had to consider was how to haul away the dump. One of the things all the people I contacted, they kind of scared me and told me that, oh yeah, it's going to cost just as much to dump it myself. In reality, it took me 4 pickup truck loads to the dump, and the average price was $23. Where I went, they went by weight of garbage. So the price was average $23, and I took 4 trips to the dump. And then if you don't have a pickup truck, you can use a trailer, rent one or borrow one, or you can even have your local waste facility drop off a trash bin dumpster for you, and for a fee you can load it up and they'll take it back for you. So there's lots of options for you to get rid of the trailer. This is just some of them. A 12,000 pound winch on my Jeep will pull the Jeep even if the brakes are applied. So to prevent that, I shackled my Jeep to a tree. As it turns out, with this trailer, I really didn't need to worry about that. Starting about a foot below the roof line, I used my saber saw and cut a line on all 4 sides of the trailer, connecting it, making it like a top or a cap that would pop off. I considered using a chainsaw for this process, but the chain would have been ruined as expected, and even more is the saw itself would have delayed me a lot more than the saber saw would have, so I went with the saber saw. I attached my chain to the back side of the trailer top and secured it. Using my winch, I pulled the top off. In my case, I had to drag everything across my driveway into a vacant area so I had room to work and break things down as I went along. I had considered gutting the inside out first, but it was so nasty inside with so much mold and stuff. I didn't want to spend any time inside the trailer. I wanted to take the top off to air everything out. As it turns out, one of the things I would have done differently in the past was I would have removed all the windows and glass first. It would have kept me from having to clean up all the broken glass. this phase of destruction, all I did was hook my chain to the farthest object behind the trailer and just keep pulling it all forward, resetting it and doing it over and over. Eventually I cleared the whole deck by just using the winch cable and didn't really have to do anything else. At this point, once the deck was pretty much cleared off, I repositioned the winch in my Jeep and hooked up the trailer and pulled the trailer on its side and leaned it up against a tree. That allowed me to take the deck off without gaining access to the screws from below, which was a lot easier. It also allowed me to cut up the frame with the angle grinder, and that made the job go really fast. Once the trailer was on its side, resting up against the tree, I was able to go to the back side, and using my angle grinder, I cut off all the bolt heads or nuts off the back side to allow the decking to pop off. In a lot of cases, I had to use the saber saw to cut around to get the deck off. In one case, I had tried using the sledgehammer to get some stubborn parts off, but it turned out to be easier to use the saber saw. And then once that was completed, I went back with my angle grinder and cut all the structures, including the axle, into little pieces. Everything from the trailer that I drug across the driveway to my work site had been cleaned up and raked, and took 4 pickup truck loads to the dump. And that leaves only the site where the trailer originally was that needs to be cleaned up. Just some incidental broken up debris. I fit the rest of that into the truck for one last trip to the dump. And that leaves only the scrap metal with a battery and a propane tank. None of those can go to the dump, but luckily they're free to recycle. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you.